回来再来看国际方面的消息。目前，从中国开始爆发并蔓延至全球范围的新型冠状病毒疫情，已经导致超过了900人死亡，致死人数已经超过了近20年前严重急性呼吸道综合症 SARS， 也就是非典的疫情。2002年和2003年最初爆发于中国南方的 SARS， 在全世界造成了774人死亡，死亡病例主要集中在中国大陆和香港。在周一，中国官方给出的数据中，中国境内目前确诊病例有35982例，累计确诊病例为40171例。而 SARS 疫情期间，全球共有8098人感染。
Cases of the novel coronavirus stretch from the United States to Australia, topping 40,000 infections in 25 countries and territories and claiming the lives of at least 910 people. Despite travel restrictions, health officials worry there could be more cases in the U.S.
So right now the risk is relatively low for us, but that could change pretty quickly.
In the U.S., there are 12 confirmed cases of coronavirus, 6 in California, 2 in Illinois, 1 in Arizona, 1 in Massachusetts, 1 in Washington State, and 1 in Wisconsin.
10 of them were imported cases from Wuhan, and 2 were close contact spouses.
For those working or reporting on global health, the pace of the virus calls to mind the SARS outbreak of 2003. Now, some who witnessed the spread of that deadly virus worry about a repeat due to what some see as leadership failures in China.
I fear they're too late, that everybody's dragging their feet and getting ready for this, and I think this is going to really explode.
Health officials say the virus is actually less lethal than SARS. The coronavirus death rate hovers around 2%, while SARS approached nearly 10%, killing 774 people of the more than 8,000 infected.
It's less than SARS, but it's clearly much more than a typical seasonal flu.
In Washington, I'm Whitney Wild reporting.
当地时间2月10日是全中国春节之后正式恢复工作的日子。中国各大城市对抗新型冠状病毒的压力随之骤然增大。各大城市为应对近1000万人返程人口，中国首都北京、经济大动脉上海等大城市纷纷宣告采取封闭式管理，试图最大限度地减轻疫情泛滥之势。复工之后的中国城市看上去与平常依然有很大区别，街道上人烟稀少，各单位限制严格，检查站众多，而目前大部分娱乐场所依然处于关闭状态。此次病毒疫情对中国经济造成了灾难性的冲击，许多企业可能由此一蹶不振，永远地消失在人们的生活中。
You're looking at the post-Lunar New Year holiday rush on the streets of Beijing. Most years, you'd see millions of migrant workers pouring back into China's capital. But this year, a much slower pace and thin crowds. The normally bustling shopping districts, desolate, on the outside at least. And think you'd find more life indoors? Health checkpoints like this one screen people at every entrance of this shopping mall, sanitized only to enter a sterile and near-empty space.
On any other given Sunday, especially in winter, malls like this one would be packed with people. Instead, they're pretty much the only ones here.
Popular Beijing restaurants, like this one known for their Sichuan cuisine, have had no need to change out the white tablecloths for weeks. Many are scared to even talk face-to-face to others, let alone share a meal with them. But there's still a need to make money. And there's still a demand for fresh produce. Instead of wasting their supplies, the restaurant staff has set up tables outside their storefront, creating a makeshift farmers markets of sorts.
They can't operate because of the epidemic, so they need to sell out the stocks.
It's convenient for customers like Zhang Rui. He's been working remotely in IT for about a week. His company, like many here in Beijing, encouraging their employees to work from home. But he's noticed a slumping company productivity.
It's not as efficient as working in the office, because it's not very convenient if colleagues are not physically together.
Zhang is still among the fortunate ones. The outbreaks left many without jobs to clock into. Huang Qiyun video chatted with us from Anhui in central China. She, like many migrant workers, had expected to travel back to Beijing to return to her job as a nanny.
My boss told me that he would leave for America. I asked him when he would come back, but he said he might not return.
Now jobless, she's living off the 2 months of extra pay her former employer provided her, but that's draining with each passing day.
I just stay at home and don't go out. And the government asks us not to go out as well. I just stay at home with my family.
And even if she wanted to return to Beijing immediately, she would be expected to self-quarantine for 2 weeks. That's 2 more weeks without pay. Many migrant workers facing similar financial struggles as the government's efforts to stop the spread of the virus intensify. For now, at least, there is no containing the growing economic uncertainty. David Culver, CNN, Beijing.
发生武汉肺炎群聚感染的日本钻石公主号邮轮，至今已有约130人确诊，其余人员被要求在船上隔离。一名旅客今天公布请愿书，希望日本政府厚生劳动省协助改善恶化的船上环境。钻石公主号日前停泊在日本横滨港。由于船上约3700人，已经有上百人确诊俗称武汉肺炎的新型冠状病毒肺炎，造成其余旅客及船员到19日为止都得待在船上接受观察。据了解，目前船上的乘客已经至少有1周未能更换房间内的床单等设施，缺乏医疗专家和护理师，也不能及时得到最新讯息，这些都增添了他们的恐慌和不安。
The death toll from the coronavirus jumps again.
The headlines are grim. Each day seems to bring more bad news.
A grim milestone for the coronavirus.
Often overlooked in the Wuhan coronavirus hysteria, patients like Rebecca Frazier from Oregon.
This is the door.
Frazier is one of a growing number of Americans to test positive for coronavirus on this cruise ship, the Diamond Princess, under quarantine in Yokohama. Japan has coronavirus patients under quarantine at hospitals nationwide, including this one in Tokyo.
We think we know where Rebecca's room is. In fact, there she is. She's standing in the window right now. Rebecca, here we are. Hi. How are you doing?
Turns out she's doing just fine, barely has any symptoms. The majority of coronavirus patients don't end up dead or seriously ill. The majority recover.
Do you know what they're giving you for coronavirus? What kind of treatment they're giving you?
They have not given me any actual medication or any fluids or anything for the virus.
She says the hardest part is being away from her husband, Kent. That's him waving at us from their quarantine cabin. Kent takes his temperature every day. Every day, he still does not have the virus.
So that one was 37.3.
I really don't have that much concern over it right now.
An additional 6 cases.
The number of sick passengers on the Diamond Princess grows by the day, including 2 of their close friends on the ship, a couple they saw up to 5 times a day, both with barely any symptoms.
This fear of, mob mentality sort of fear is just unwarranted.
Rebecca was talking about the people online and the things they were saying.
Just today, I got a message from somebody that said, "Don't come home."
I actually got a couple of really threatening messages. People can be really nasty.
She says they can also be really nice, flooding her phone with messages of love and support, a welcome distraction when she's stuck in a place like this.
If you were going to choose between being on the cruise ship or being in the hospital room, which would you say is the better place to kind of hang out for these next 14 days?
Oh, I would say definitely the cruise ship still.
You'd rather be on the cruise ship?
She says people need to take the virus seriously. They also need to keep things in perspective. This year, Wuhan coronavirus has killed hundreds. Every year, seasonal flu kills hundreds of thousands.
Just take care of yourself, but there's no reason to panic.
And wash those hands.
Wash those hands, absolutely.
The Fraziers say it's time to stop living in fear, even as they live on the front lines of a global health emergency. Will Ripley, CNN, Tokyo.
Well, here on Tuesday in Yokohama, Japanese health officials reporting no additional people testing positive for this coronavirus on board the Diamond Princess. That is a stark change. It's the first day in several that we haven't seen the number of cases go up, especially considering what we saw on Monday when an additional 65 cases, including 5 crew members, were reported. That said, we've spoken to multiple health officials who say they are expecting the number of coronavirus cases to rise over the next several days. We are still in the middle of this 2-week quarantine process where everyone has to stay inside their rooms except for limited amounts of time during the day imposed by Japanese health officials. Now, health officials say that even if the number of viruses go up, they do not believe that the people who will eventually test positive picked up the virus after the quarantine started. They believe that these people contracted the virus before the quarantine period. They believe the quarantine is working. That said, we've spoken to people on board who are feeling uncomfortable. They're feeling tense. They're feeling that maybe the health officials are not doing the exact right thing here, but Japanese health officials are sticking by their plan. They say the quarantine is the way forward. The ship currently out of the harbor in Yokohama for some routine maintenance, expected to come back in around 9 a.m. On Wednesday morning, and the quarantine will likely stay in effect until February 19th. Matt Rivers in Yokohama.
目前，全球受到新型冠状病毒疫情的影响，全球几十个航空公司已暂停了中国的航班。原定在新加坡举行的一场国际航空官员会议也已经取消。全世界的旅行者们也纷纷因为担心安全而取消外出出行行程。在这一背景下，全球航空业准备面对一波冲击。各方纷纷预言，这波冲击将超过2003年的非典。而日前，美国行业组织国际航空运输协会 CEO 面对镜头发言，表示大量停飞航班对于抑制肺炎疫情的发展来说，可能并非是好事。
What we have to say is it is useful when there is an outbreak everywhere that the service is maintained at a reasonable level, because the airlines bring medical material, equipment, people, so doctors, nurses. So it's an important point not to cancel the entire service. Otherwise, it's a problem. It increases the problem.
As the sort of representative of the world's airlines, are you happy with the flow of information that there has been from China to the airlines, from the WHO to the airlines? I mean, we've had plenty of health crises by now. We should know how to do it properly. Are you content that that's what's happened here?
I have to say that we have accumulated experience, and the sector, the airline sector, including the airlines, the airports, the border control administrations, customs, cargo handlers, are pretty well prepared and equipped. You see that there are masks, there are thermal imaging cameras, temperature control systems. So the sector has gained in experience from the previous outbreaks, the SARS, the MERS, the H1N1, the various outbreaks we have had to face in the past. And we are following very closely the WHO guidelines. We cooperate with the WHO. We have a medical group within IATA, composed with the 10 doctors or medical advisors of airlines. Plus, we have an observer seat at the WHO Emergency Committee. So, frankly, it's not too badly done. Of course, there could be areas of improvement. Everybody can do better, right. But the sector is not too badly prepared.
But what's interesting, of course, is that not only can there be transmission on the aircraft, the airlines are transporting people from China, and that in itself is a potential risk for contamination. So you are in many ways stuck right in the middle, aren't you? Because besides the virus contamination in Wuhan and central China, it is the transmission elsewhere from people traveling on airlines.
On that point, you must be aware of two things. First of all, the risk of contamination in traveling by plane is not higher than any other confined area, probably lower, because first of all, we have trained crews inside, we have trained our cleaning crew, we have trained our handling crew, we have trained our maintenance crew, to fight against this type of virus. And secondly, the air is filtered inside the cabin, so there is the risk to catch the virus through breathing is probably lower in an aircraft than in any other confined area. The point is the proximity. You have more risk in touching someone who is sick than breathing the same air.
再来看娱乐方面的消息。DC 公司根据人气漫画角色女小丑创作的衍生影片《猛禽小队》和哈利·奎恩在上映后受到了广大影迷的追捧。然而，电影的名字因为太长，一直遭到抱怨。目前，制片方华纳兄弟已经提出了解决方案，虽然没有修改官方的影片名称，但现在在各大网站和订票机上，电影已经被修改成为一个更加简洁、容易找到的名字。
That wasn't the only dame in Gotham looking for emancipation.
Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn is quite a title if you're searching for movie tickets or putting up a theater marquee. So Warner Brothers is changing the title. Not officially, but now ticket websites and exhibitors can also use the much shorter title, Harley Quinn, Birds of Prey. Eminem's surprise performance on the Academy Awards of his Oscar-winning song Lose Yourself has paid off in sales. According to The Hollywood Reporter, initial numbers from Nielsen Music and MRC data show 4,000 downloads of Lose Yourself on Oscar Sunday, nearly 2,000% higher than the day before. The 5 Oscar-nominated songs, all performed on the award show, also saw increased sales, led by the Cynthia Erivo track Stand Up from Harriet.
Hi, Ryan.
Rian Johnson is looking for actors. On the Oscars red carpet, the filmmaker told Variety that his Knives Out sequel will feature Daniel Craig returning as Detective Benoit Blanc, but since he'll be on a new case, it'll be a totally new cast. Johnson joked he could throw a rock on the Oscars red carpet and hit someone he wants in the movie. Point taken, but probably a bad idea. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
接下来，请关注汉天生活报道。